Hey, Instagram. It's so good to be here with you. Welcome to day number 5 of the 10 days of money momentum. We're going to have some fun today. Happy Friday. Let me get this thing rocking and rolling on the Facebook, and we'll be right back. So let's get ready to roll. I'm going to pop this in, get this going. All right, let's make sure that we are live. Let me know if you can see me, hear me. Just give me an idea that you're in the house, that you're here, that we're going live. How is it day 5 already? I know. This is kind of crazy. Fun. Who wants that? Bobby Clink is in the house. That means we are in trouble. Okay, Bobby, my friend, you got nothing better to do on a Friday night, I guess. So. Here's the deal. We're gonna get rock and roll. Yeah. How did we get to day number 5? We got day number 5, and then we have 5 more days left. We're gonna go right through the weekend, each and every day, and really start to bring this thing home. So I appreciate y'all jumping on an hour later, because just like our session yesterday was all about time. I screwed up the time. I screwed up my calendar. I double booked, so I had to move this and everything. So today, all right, for those of you that don't know, yesterday we talked about the most valuable investment, the most important investment you're going to make, and that was your time. Your time is an asset. Your time is an investment. Your time. But too often we discount our time. Too often we don't value our time. Too often we waste our time. Too often we never invest our time. We just spend our time. So we want to make sure that we do it the right way to make it make sense. All right. And so if you didn't get a chance to watch that one, go back and watch that one. In fact, I'm going to put a replay page up so you can watch all of these, and I'll make sure that you get that tomorrow so you have the weekend to do that. So, all right, we're going to hit live on Facebook, and here we go. So, all right, so welcome back. Day number 5 of the 10 days of money momentum. So good to be here with y'all. So good to see so many people just coming back on day after day. We are day number 5. We've got 5 days left after this, and so let me know where you're coming in from. Today I want to talk about this whole idea of setting goals and micro successes. This is one of the things, especially in the financial realm, especially in the money game, is we start to get into this whole idea of, well, I want to make $1 million, or I want to make, I want to be worth $10 million or $5 million, $2 million, or whatever it is. And we see this big number, and then it becomes a challenge. We never really make it. In fact, there's a study by the University of Scranton that said 92% of people studied quit their goals. 92%. That means only 8% are ever successful at reaching their goals. What's the deal? Is it because they can't? Is it because they don't know how? Is it because of what causes it that 92% of people quit their goals? Remember, what they said is that they quit their goals. It's not that they didn't make their goals. And so it's about them quitting their goals. And the reason for them quitting their goals, the number one reason they were given about that is because they get overwhelmed. Bobby, you were talking about me earlier. Uh-oh. Let me know. Yeah. They get overwhelmed. They create this big goal. Now I'm going to take you through my rock stepping stone process so you understand how I create goals and financial goals, or any goals, to try and make this happen. Because if 92% are quitting them because of overwhelm, then we need to stop the overwhelm. Look, here's the deal. It doesn't matter where the goal is. We'll talk about money goals, but it doesn't matter where the goal is losing weight, or it's getting out of debt, or it's building wealth, or it's your business success. Each one of those goals, you may sit back and say, I want to do a $10 million year. I want to do a $1 million launch or $1 million revenue year in my business. Well, you don't just decide and it happens magically. There's steps. If I want to lose 50 pounds, there's steps to losing 50 pounds. If I want to turn around and get myself out of debt, there's a process and there's steps to getting out of debt. The fact of the matter is that a goal, hey there, Tiffany, it's good to have you. Tiffany's on. I was on her live this earlier today. She crushed it as usual. So here's the thing. No matter what the goal is, there's steps to doing it. But here's what we tend to do. We tend to set the goal, and then this goal becomes this albatross that's so large we don't know how to accomplish it. We don't, and we give up because it's just overwhelming. John Grisham, the author. We've got Indonesia in the house. John Grisham, the author, was a lawyer before he became an author, and when he decided he wanted to become an author, all he did is he committed to himself to writing 1 page every single day. 1 page every single day. And so John Grisham, the first year he decided to become an author, wrote 1 page every single day for a year. For a year. And that became his first novel called A Time to Kill. But you see, when he first set out to do that, to become an author, that's a big goal, to write a book. And I know because I've written a book and I've got another book that's in the works. It takes a lot to write a book if you try to swallow it all at once. But what he did is 1 page at a time. When we talk about your money, when we talk about your wealth, whether you're in debt, when you're out of debt, or you're trying to build wealth, it's $1 at a time. It's 1 step at a time. We can't do this in big goal scenario. Now, we start with the big goals, but we need to break it down in a way that works. I'll give you an example. We'll go back a few years. Actually, a lot of years. When I was getting ready to take the CPA exam, I was still in college. So I was taking the CPA exam while I was still in school. And, the CPA exam at the time was a 4-day exam. 4-day exam, no calculators. So everything had to be done longhand, and you had to show your work. And so it was a 4-day exam. And the pass rate on that exam was not very high. You could pass, there was 4 parts to it. So as long as I passed 2 parts, then I could pass the other 2 parts by retaking those parts again. But here's what I did. I sat down and I said, all right, there's different sections that I need to know. And there was, I don't remember, but there was like eight different major topics I needed to know. And I had 6 months to prepare for the exam. So I literally allocated those 8 sections by first by week, then by day, and broke it down. And every single day. Okay, now, mind you, I was still in college, and I was taking 18 units at the time. So I was taking 18 units, and I was still in college, and I was studying for the CPA exam. So I had to manage that. But what I did is I said, if I need to know this body of work before I take the test, I need to carve it into little pieces on weekly and daily basis. And every day what I did is I went to what we had, the library was called the Oviatt Library. And so I would go in the Oviatt Library in the morning, and I would study, and I would not stop until I finished the section for that day. Now, the good news is I was in a part of a fraternity, so my fraternity brothers, the pledge brothers, the little sisters, they would bring me lunch, so I didn't have to leave. So I would study, they would bring me lunch, I would eat lunch there, and I would just continue to study. But I broke it down to what do I need to learn today to make sure that I command that today, and then I'll go to the next day. And so I ended up taking that CPA exam 4 days with no No calculators, longhand, had to do it, and passing all 4 parts. Yeah, I was. All 4 parts before I ever graduated college. Okay? Which most people will only pass two parts at a time, but to be able to pass all 4 parts at one time, there's a small percentage that have done that. Now, I don't necessarily think I'm any smarter than the rest, but I had a methodology to break a big goal into little mini chunks that gave me what I call micro successes that created the momentum to make each step get easier, which is exactly what the prompt is about today. And this whole idea of the exercise is to look at your big goals and saying, how do we break them down? Here's an interesting, another one to look at. I've had people come to me, and I don't do a lot of debt work, if you will. And they'll come to me and say, I got debt. What do I do? How do I get out of debt? Now, I have a tool called the Debt Breakthrough Calculator. So if anyone's got debt out there, if anyone's trying to figure out how to get out of debt, I want you to go to melabraham.com/no debt. Okay? melabraham.com/no debt. Download the Debt Breakthrough Calculator. What this does is it takes my stepping stone methodology, this breakdown, this micro success methodology, and builds it into an Excel spreadsheet. You're going to turn around, so when we talk about getting out of debt, when you're looking at things in the sense, like I was just talking to someone today. She was a doctor, and she said she had $300,000 in student loans. $300,000. Okay, that can choke you if you look at $300,000. But when you break it down with a process, with a system to get it paid down, you can get it paid down pretty quickly, and you can get it. And now you have micro successes. That you'll hear things people talk about. Dave Ramsey talks about the debt snowball. There's 2 primary ways to pay down debt, which isn't really the topic of this live, but it'll demonstrate the point. There's the snowball method and an avalanche method. The snowball method is meant to give you micro successes. And what they do is you order your debts based on the smallest to largest, forgetting interest rate. Now, I get it. Mathematically, you want to do the highest interest rate first, but we can deal with that. The thing is that why this debt snowball works is that what they're trying to do is get you a quick win. If I take a small credit card, even if it's $200, and I got a whole bunch of other debt, and I get $200 paid off, you get to celebrate that win. You get to celebrate that you got $200 paid off. And now that $200 can go towards paying more off. And now you have this momentum, this snowball effect of paying it down. If you really want to understand how the debt snowball works, go to melabraham.com/no debt. If you've got debt, it will schedule your payments out. It will break them down for you. You can see what's the fastest way to get them paid off and what's the least interest way to get them paid off. And I explain it in there and everything. But my point is that whether it's wealth building, debt pay down, weight loss, business growth, we got to break it down into micro successes. Micro successes is what's going to allow us to actually achieve something. There was another study, and I read a lot of studies because I'm fascinated at human behavior. I'm fascinated to understand why people make the decisions they make, why they make, the money decisions they make. What is it that's causing these things to happen? Now, there was a study, Harvard Entrepreneur School professor. Her name was Teresa Amabile. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Okay, I don't know if I pronounced it right. But she studied 7 companies. She studied 7 companies, and what she was studying was to understand when they felt they had a good day and when they felt they had a bad day, or a not so good day. She had 12,000 basically daily entries to figure it out. In the primary characteristic, the primary contributor to having a good day versus having a bad day, their interpretation of I had a good day was not achieving something, but rather it was progress. which then comes to this whole idea of the progress principle. See, I think that what we really need to celebrate and need to understand is these micro successes are about progress and celebrating progress before celebrating achievement. Because too often we don't celebrate progress because we don't believe we've achieved. And then we never get to the achievement because we give up. All right? We give up. And this is the thing that we need to start to look at differently, is this idea of the progress principle. And this is what the micro successes are built on. Okay? It's what they're built on to make that happen, is that we need to build progress, and we need to celebrate progress. We need to celebrate all the micro successes. I don't care if all of a sudden you haven't exercised and you decide you're going to exercise. If you walked a block and then back home, that's a micro success. You need to celebrate it. I don't care if all of a sudden you're looking at it and saying, I am not putting anything away for my future. I'm not putting anything into my 401k. I'm not putting anything to my retirement. And you decide to tell your HR or you decide to tell your bank, I want you to transfer $50 this week into a savings account. It's $50. It's not a lot. But you know what? It's progress. It's a micro success. And you know what? $50 a week over 30 years at 8%, that's over $300,000. That's progress. But you don't see the 300. And we never celebrate the 50. And if we don't continue to celebrate the 50, we're never going to see the 300 because we stop. Hopefully this is making sense to you. Recognize and celebrate the wins. Celebrate the micro successes every step of the way. The financial journey to financial liberation is a time-based journey. It's not something that happens overnight. Look, you hear the stories about the people that get wealthy overnight. They hit the lottery. They win something big. They win in Vegas, and they end up broke later. And why is that? Why is that? Here's my belief. Here's my belief from working with entrepreneurs, seeing it happen over and over and over again. Those that come into a windfall, those that come into it easy. Now, mind you, the studies show that millionaires, over 80% of millionaires are first-generation millionaires. Unlike what people think, which is a myth. People believe that, most millionaires inherit their money or it's given to them. Not the case. The majority of millionaires are first generation. They created it themselves. But those that get the money quick, they either inherit it or it's gifted to them or they win the lottery, what happens? See, they lose control and they lose the money. And the reason they did is because they never built the skill set through gradual growth, through progress, to make it happen. See, I believe you have a financial comfort zone. And that financial comfort zone is to look at this is built around your muscle, your understanding, your knowledge, your wisdom, the things you understand about money, finance, and investing, wealth building. It's about all of that. And that comfort zone keeps you corralled here. No different than a relational comfort zone or a physical comfort zone. But if you truly want to accelerate and elevate your wealth and elevate your money, we need to start shifting the walls of the comfort zone out. And the only way we're going to do that is education, mentoring, training, and conversation. Okay? And when you do that and you start to push it out, what you're really doing is building your finance and your business and your money muscles. No different than going to the gym. The only way you build muscles at the gym is putting resistance up against the weight. You put resistance up against the wall of your comfort zone, it pushes it out, you build bigger muscles, and you can continue to grow. That's the thing. But the problem is those that make the money fast, the lottery, the inheritance, all that stuff, and they did not grow. They didn't build the muscle, so they don't have the muscle, and that's why they self-implode. And so what we want to look at is Celebrate progress, because with progress, you're building the muscle. With progress, you're moving towards it. You're not going to become wealthy overnight, and if you do, the statistics show that you lose it. So this is about a journey. And instead of getting so caught up with this major big goal, how about we focus on the goal and the steps to get you there and celebrate each step of the way to make sure that you land there effectively with the skills to keep it. Because here's the other thing I know. The mindset that you need to create the wealth, to build a business, the entrepreneurial mindset you need is very different than the mindset you need to keep the wealth. We'll talk about the two different mindsets in another episode and everything. But that's the thing. So here's how I want you to look at this. I'm going to walk you through this, my Rock to Stones framework. We'll talk through the steps that I think you need to consider as you're moving forward on some of this. And then I'll see if you got questions and take it from there. So first things is I want you to pick a big goal. What's a big goal you have? And it could be a money goal. It could be a relationship goal. It could be a business goal. Doesn't matter. Just if you pick a goal, you're gonna do this for every single goal. And this is the way I do my goal setting. I first pick a goal. Step two, I ask myself, in order for that goal to come true, what must happen? What must be true for that goal to be a reality? For that goal to be a reality. So that's step two, is to list out the things that have to come true for that goal to become a reality. Then there's step three. What steps or actions do you need to take? Do you need to take for the things in step two to happen? What steps do you need to take to move you forward? And then number four is, what's the first step that you can take today? We never, ever, ever, ever leave a goal-setting session. We never leave a planning session without making a decision of what we're going to do today to take that first step. Remember progress. Remember progress. So, number one, we're going to pick a goal. Number two, we're going to figure out what must be true for that goal to be a reality. Number three, we're going to ask, what steps do I need to take to make that true? And number four, what's the first thing that I can do right today to start moving it forward? Now, I'm going to give you two more steps that are really important, and I'm going to give you a breakdown of how I look at this. Two more steps, and I'm going to give you an example. The next step that I want you to do, and these are extra credit, but this is what puts it on overdrive. This is what really gets it rolling. Number five, calendar. In other words, get your calendar out and take 3 of the steps that you figured out need to happen and put them on that calendar. Remember, we talked a few days ago about calendaring your fears. Calendar the steps. When I knew I had to study for that CPA exam, I knew each day what I had to finish, each day what I had to study, each day. And I put it on a calendar. Now, back then, we didn't have electronic calendars. They were paper calendars. So I had a paper calendar, and I knew that I was studying lease accounting, whatever it was, okay? I was studying that day, and I had to master it that day. And I put it on the calendar. Put it on the calendar, because then all you have is the pathway to just follow the steps. See, I look at it this way. We start with a big vision. This is the big vision you want. Let's say you want I want a $2 million net worth. Okay? I then go from the big vision to the big rocks. What are the big rocks that need to happen to make that $2 million net worth? Well, I want to have $1 million in a retirement account. I want to have $1 million in other investments. Okay? So those are the big rocks. Now I look at the big rocks and say those big rocks are typically the things that I want to accomplish in greater than 3 years. So they're longer term. Okay? Then I go from the big rocks to the small rocks. These are the things that typically I'm going to accomplish in the 1 to 3 year range. Okay, so maybe to get to that $1 million in a retirement account, I need to hit the maximum of $20,000 a year contributed in that 1 to 3 year time frame. And you put a date on it. So I got big vision, big rocks, small rocks. Okay? Which then leads me to stepping stones. Okay? To stepping stones. The stepping stones are the action steps that you're going to calendar to make that happen. So if we take that $2 million example, we go $2 million in net worth, $1 million of it is in a retirement account. In order to get to that $1 million retirement account, I go to the little rocks. The little rocks is that I have to maximize my 401k contribution. Say I have a 401k. So I'm going to maximize my 401k contribution, assume I can put $20,000 in there, but I can't do that. I can't afford to put $20,000 in today. So what are the stepping stones? Well, the stepping stones are, one, I need to know where I'm at. So I need to look at my debt. And if I have debt, I'm going to put a debt pay down plan in. So that's one stepping stone. The other stepping stone is that I'm going to put a monthly money date in. In other words, I'm going to sit down and look at my money and my transactions and the things that I'm doing each and every month. And if I'm with a significant other, I think that it needs to be done together. I'm going to look at my net worth each and every month. I'm going to track it. If we don't track it, it's called the Pearson principle. If we don't track it, it's not going to grow as fast as it should. Okay? I'm going to start stacking. Remember we talked about the 1%. Well, I'm going to start stacking my 1% increases into the 401k. So 1 month, I'm going to put a 1% more into my 401k. The next month or the next quarter, I'm going to push it another 1% until I get to the maximum and get that $20,000 a year into it. So see what I'm doing is I'm saying, all of a sudden I'm building a plan, action steps to make it happen. So if I know that I'm tracking everything on a monthly basis, if I know that I've got a schedule and I'm paying down my debt on a regular basis, if I know that stacking my 1% into maxing out my 401k and I'm getting the contributions from the company, I'm going to get there. And if I have monthly money dates that allow me to take a look at this, the better off I am. And then one other thing that is going to help me is, as an action step I might put in there, is I'm going to interview some advisors. The right kinds of advisors. We can talk about that at another time. Let's interview some advisors that's going to let me do this. And you know what? Tiffany, you're right. Coach Glitter, you're right. You cannot grow what you don't measure. And if you do grow it and you're not measuring, it's by coincidence, which means that you're probably not going to be able to duplicate it. I'd rather have a process and a system that I can do over and over and over and over again. This is why the Affluence Blueprint was built the way it was, because we've used it over and over again for other people, for myself, and for, so we start to look at that. Okay? And then, one last step, which goes back to what we talked about. For every micro success, I want you to define how you're going to celebrate the success. How are you going to celebrate the success? So every step, every accomplishment, I want you to celebrate. Now, if it's a money accomplishment where you're turning around and saying, I'm building my net worth. Okay, so what I don't want you to do is this. Your net worth goes up $1,000. You go to celebrate, and in order to celebrate, you spend $1,000 to celebrate. Yeah, not good. We don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. But we want to have a way to celebrate, to acknowledge it, to pat yourself on the back, to Measure the progress and say, it's working. It's working. Celebrate the successes no matter how small, no matter how big. Okay? Tiffany, I'm glad my wife's not watching. She says, go buy shoes to celebrate. And so that's the thing that I want you to look at is this: micro successes are your path to wealth. Micro successes are your path to achieving your goals. Don't set a big goal and allow it to overwhelm you. Let's take that goal and go from the big vision to the big rocks, to the little rocks, to the stepping stones to make it happen, and celebrate it along the way. Micro successes along the way. Build it in, calendar it, and make it happen. Okay? Make it happen, because the fact of the matter is that the dream is just a dream unless we create a plan. The plan is meaningless unless we take action. And the actions are useless unless they're directed. Okay? So we need the dream to convert to the plan, which is brought into actions, and those actions need to be directed to get the result that you want. And then celebrate the heck out of it. That's the game. So that's it for day number 5. I hope that this is of value to you, and that you see the value in this. And so here's the thing. I want to take some questions. I want to answer some questions. I saw a couple questions come in, and I'll clarify some things. So let's see what we can make happen. All right. And then we're going live again tomorrow at 4 p.m. We're back to the normal time, 4 p.m. I know it's a Saturday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll be posting at 8 a.m. New prompt, all of that. Make sure you comment. Make sure you do the exercise. Let me know. Do the exercise, because everyone's getting into the giveaway. The giveaway. We got Apple Pencils. We got Amazon gift cards. We've got my number 1 best-selling book. And we have a one-on-one session with me. We're going to spend some time strategizing together. All right? So there's a number of things. And remember, my show's coming out. The Affluent Entrepreneur Show. That is coming out the week of May 3rd. That's what this is all about. It's to celebrate this. It's to build the excitement and all that. I'm already excited. If you can't tell, we're going to make this happen. So let's see what we've got coming in. I did see a question about the 1%. What I'm saying about if you're in a situation, the 1% stacking, if you're in a situation where you say, I cannot take and maximize, like one of the things that I do with some of our clients is I want to push them to minimum 15, but I like to push them to about 25% of their income to go into their future, into their investments. Okay? But the problem is that we can't just start at 15 or 20% sometimes. We just don't have the cash flow to be able to do that. We got to readjust some things. But what I want to do is I want to start exercising the muscles. So here's what I typically do is say, let's just start with 1%. And then the next, because 1% isn't a lot, but it's enough to get you in the game and get you used to doing it and exercise the muscle. And then the next month or the month after that, we increase it another 1%. And we increase it to another 1%. Now, if you have additional cash flow and you can do it, man, go to 15%, 20% right away. Front load your investments, front load your future, and let time do the heavy lifting. Okay? Let time do the heavy lifting. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that clarified it. So Lori, this is great, and she's demonstrating what I'm saying. She said when she was paying down her student loans, she tracked the progress each month in a journal. Okay, track the progress each month in a journal. Seeing the numbers go down each month for each loan was a huge motivator. Yeah, watching it and seeing it and going, I'm getting there. I'm making it. It's happening. It encouraged me to pay as much as possible, because what ends up happening is now it becomes a competition with you. Yeah, the key is to start and then keep going and adding to 20%, 25%, 25%. Depending on your age. If you're young, you can get away with 15%. If you're a little older, you might have to push 20, 25%, because what we're trying to do. Now, remember, it's all dependent upon the number you need before you retire. If it's millions of dollars, and we got nothing, we might have to do some work. If it's not so much, or you have a fair amount already, then it's not going to be as much. So we got to play the mathematics there, but I'd rather err on the side of having too much than too little. All right? Fact of the matter is that most people right now are struggling. 78% are living check to check, and over 60% of people believe that they're going to, one, have to reduce their lifestyle, two, they're going to have to continue to work into their retirement years. I don't think that's right. First off, if you're working 40 years and you go to retire, 50 years and you go to retire, whatever definition of retirement is, why should you have to reduce your lifestyle? You should be able to increase your lifestyle. Let's figure it out. Let's do it right. Okay? So, all right, so let's look at if anyone's got any other questions. Wow, 8%? Yeah, 8%. They don't know how to manage. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's good to see you again. Looking forward to it. I appreciate this more than you can imagine. This is definitely ass-kicking, the ass-kicking I need. Hey, Ann, absolutely. I'm here to do it in a loving way because I want you all. Here's what I believe, honestly, is I believe financial independence, it's a birthright. We just need to claim it. But society and the way we've been raised wouldn't have us talk about money and make us think that us wanting to have financial independence is greedy or bad or something. Wait a second. Money allows us to do things for other people. Money allows us to make a difference. Money allows us to fund movements. Money allows us to fund missions. Money allows us to employ people. Money allows us to create things that aren't created, to bring, to especially if you're an entrepreneur, moving into that affluent entrepreneur space, because what ends up happening is you're all about improving the human condition. That's what it's all about. So, I often heard people say, set big goals, and it's okay to meet 50% of them as long as you have grown. What are my thoughts? This is a great question. I do think that you set big goals. I also think that you create the plan to achieve those big goals, and you don't go in with the intent to only achieve 50%. I do believe that you know, the bottom line is, in all situations, in fact, when I had the martial arts studio, I had a martial arts studio for 11 years, and I taught, and they would go through a black belt test, and the black belt test was 4.5 hours long. And they would have to go through all the techniques and all the forms, and then they would fight all the black belts, and the last person they fought was me. They were exhausted. Now, my black belts knew the point of them fighting them is to get them to the point that they cannot go anymore. That they can't go anymore. And then they come up against me. Now, I turn around and I will go and I get in there and I say, you have 3 minutes. 3 minutes, that's it. And you're done. 3 minutes and you have your black belt. And now there were parents that thought, oh my God, this is abusive. This is abusive. They can barely walk. And when we were done with those 3 minutes, and I sat them down and I said, you all think that this was a 4.5 hour test, wasn't it? And they said, yeah. I go, nope. The test was 3 minutes. It took us 4.5 hours to prepare you for it. The fact of the matter is that what was more important, I've known your techniques. I've seen you punch, I've seen you kick, I've seen you throw, I've seen you defend yourself for years. I didn't need to see your techniques again. I needed to see your soul. I needed to see who you became. I needed to see who you are on the inside. And know that when the chips are down, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's health, whatever it is, that you have a reference point that once you looked at yourself and say, I can't go any further, and you did it for 3 more minutes. It's the same thing with your goals. It's who you become in the process of going after those goals that's more important than actually achieving the goals. That's why we celebrate the micro successes. That's why we celebrate the progress. That's the thing that we need to do. But too often, we don't celebrate progress. And so micro successes are ways to achieve the goals, but to also celebrate progress and keep people moving forward. So, Kit's asking, do you recommend a high yield savings accounts to help us with our planning? So the answer is yes. And I'm smiling because the high yield savings accounts today are not so high yield. At one point, you could get them about 1.5%, which is much greater than what you can get on a regular savings account. Now they're probably about between 0.3% and 0.7%, depending on where you're at and how much you put into it and that type of thing. But it's better than, it's the high yield cash accounts is better than putting it into a regular savings account. But there's a couple of criteria that I want for a high yield cash account. So all of my liquid funds will move into a high yield cash account. It's where I keep my peace of mind fund. People will call it an emergency fund. I call it a peace of mind fund. It's where I need my liquid funds that I don't want to put at risk in the stock market or in other investments. Or it's a parking place temporarily for me until I find a better investment to put it in. And so what I look at for a high yield cash account is, one, it needs to be something that is fully liquid. In other words, you can get access to the money at a moment's notice. You're not locked in. It's not like a CD for 6 months or 12 months or something like that. It is 100% fully liquid. Two, it is insured. Okay? It is insured. If this is your safety fund, if this is where you keep putting your safety funds, you don't put it at risk. So you want to make sure it's insured. Now, depending on the bank or the credit union, it's, $250,000, $200,000. You can see what, and there's ways to increase that by having multiple accounts in different kinds of holdings. So you want to make sure it's insured. And number 3, it should have no fees. Should have no fees. So 100% liquid, insured, no fees. That's the way I look at it when I go through this. So great question. What establishments do I recommend for high yield cash accounts? Here's what I would do: is I do a search. Go to bankrate.com, and see what the high yield cash accounts are out there. 1, 2. Right now, I'm actually getting the highest yield at my credit union. So I would check with your local credit unions. I love credit unions. They're community banks that aren't there with looking to make huge profits. They're there to help the members of the credit union. And unless you have some complex financial structure needs, which most of us do not, you can get everything done at a credit union with minimal or no fees, and you have much more flexibility. And because they're community based, you actually, once you start to run a lot more money through them, you actually have a say. I can call my credit union up and say, "Hey, I need this, I need that." They go, "Got it. We'll take care of it." So that's kind of where I would look, because the rates are changing all the time. I actually had a high yield cash account at Wealthfront, Goldman, the Marcus account, and my credit union. And I was moving money around because it's easy to move now because you can do it electronically based on where their rates are. Well, the other two dropped their rates so far, I just moved it all into my credit union. It's all sitting in the credit union now. Okay? So hopefully that helps. What are my thoughts about crypto funds? Cryptocurrency. It's not a safe place. It's an opportunistic place, but if you're looking to park safe money for peace of mind with no volatility, not a place to play, okay? But if you're looking to have it as a slice of your portfolio, totally cool with that. Assuming that you have an established portfolio already, a foundation, okay? Otherwise, you're rolling the dice. You're taking on a tremendous amount of volatility in that type of an investment. And is there high upside? Certainly there's high upside. but there's also high downside. Until it gets a foundation underneath it in a way that's more consistent, realize that volatility means risk of loss, also opportunity for growth. And I'm fine with it if you have an established portfolio. But I look at like even myself at almost 60 years old, do I really need to take a bunch of risks with my portfolio? The answer is no. Do I take risks? Yeah, I take a small sliver and I'll make those types of investments. I'm invested in some cancer drug companies that are in clinical trials. I'm invested in some things that are, that could go to zero. So that means that I need to, if I'm going to put them into riskier investments, I got to be willing to lose it. So my thinking, Rosemary, on the cryptos is that it's great to have as a piece of the portfolio, but I wouldn't necessarily put it as the lion's share of the portfolio because there's too much volatility there. You could hit a home run if you time it right and you get it right, but you could also get hit with a pitch. So you would ask about NFTs. So these are digital currency too, NFTs. And I'll totally be honest with you, Tiffany, I'm still studying them. And in fact, I have a dear friend of mine who's deep into NFTs, and him and I are scheduled to have a call tomorrow because I said, I need you to explain this to me. I need to understand it better. So I'll have a better understanding after I have the conversation with him. But it is a form of digital currency. They're non-fungible tokens is what they're called, and is basically something that has the ability to increase in value. I think that there's a place for them, and I think that they're going to be interesting to see how they develop over time. So, Salima, and if I mispronounce your name, I am sorry, but Salima says, do you set goals in every area of your life? Yeah, actually, I do. Here's my belief: is that a success needs to be a holistic success. In other words, I have someone I know. We're not friends, and primarily we're not friends because of his values and the way he treats people. He's extremely wealthy. He's worth probably, I don't know, last time probably about 250, 300 million. He's got 4 or 5 airplanes. He's not in this space. He's in real estate and stuff. But he's miserable as hell. His health sucks. His relationships suck. His people hate working for him. Yeah, he's got money. He's got airplanes. But to me, is that success? And my belief is no. So what we want to do, I think, is set the goals in the different aspects of our life. What does our family look like? What does our finances look like? In fact, when we do the affluence visioning process in the affluence blueprint, we actually create the affluent vision for all the domains of our life, whether it's career, whether it's money, whether it's relationships, whether it's health. We set that in place so we can break that down because we don't want to be lopsided. I don't want to have a whole lot of money and no health. Trust me, I learned that lesson. That as soon as my health was in jeopardy, it didn't matter about the rest of it. Now, it certainly helped to have the finances to be able to take care of myself. But if all I had was finances, it wouldn't have mattered. What really helped was I have a beautiful, loving wife that stood by my side. I have a son. I have and his wife that stood by my side. I have a brother, and I have friends that stood by my side. So yeah, I set goals for every area of my life. So, does your friend's name start with C? No. No. It's Tom Bilyeu. He was actually on TV talking about it. So Tom Bilyeu of Impact Theory. So wealth is also our lifestyle, not working 24/7 and hoarding money. Absolutely. Every business and financial equation that you look at, every business or financial formula has in it lifestyle. And if you're not considering the lifestyle cost or the lifestyle effect, you're going to get surprised. So we need to understand that every decision we make affects our lives, and look at it through those eyes. So, how many goals max would you recommend per quarter, year? How often do you review your progress? So let's just talk financially for a moment, Salima. This is a great question. One is monthly. I review my financial situation. I look at my profit and loss. I look at my cash flow. I look at my net worth. I look at my investments. So every month I'm looking at we have a financial scorecard that we use from Affluence Blueprint. And so every month I use a financial scorecard to see where am I at? Where am I going? Am I on track? So I do that every month. I'll adjust things typically on the quarter though. I'll watch things and I'll tag things, and then I'll watch it for a few months to see if there's a trend, and then I'll make a decision to move if I need to move, and so I'll adjust it on a quarter. I'll reestablish goals each quarter if I need to, or adjust the goals. I'll reset goals on an annual basis, but and then I'll review my progress on a monthly basis. How many goals do I set? Typically, I have one major goal per quarter per domain of life. And I break that down into maximum three projects, if you will. Call them projects, three big rocks maximum, and then the stepping stones to make that happen. Because I do things in 90-day cycles to move me forward. Okay. And now here's the other side of it. Is that in some cases, one quarter might be focused on like I'm going into the launch of my show, the Affluent Entrepreneur Show. This quarter, this time has all been focused on that. Now, not to the detriment of my health, not to the detriment of my relationships. We still make sure that we keep that. Now, my primary focus of time and energy is towards the show right now, but I'm still up at the gym. Or working out here, or out doing my run on the beach, doing the things that I need to do, so I'm not forsaking or sacrificing the other aspects of my life because I'm putting out a show. Okay? So hopefully that helps. Travis, my friend, it's been a while. Thank you so much, my brother, for the good wishes. I am feeling good. I am feeling healthy. And for those of you who don't know, I did a scope last week. Last week we got a scope. It was the 1-year milestone. And Travis knows this because he's had a cancer scare too. 1-year milestone, completely clear, completely clean. So we're not out of the woods, but we got that bad boy out, and bad boy knows he's not welcome in this body anymore. So thank you. So cool, man. This was good. I hope that you got something out of it, and that you found it of value. Remember, tomorrow I'll do another prompt and post at 8 a.m. I know 8 a.m. on a Saturday. Don't miss the cartoons. And so 8 a.m. tomorrow is another prompt and another post. 4 p.m. tomorrow Pacific time, I will be here live. We'll go a little deeper. We've got 5 more days left. We're at the halfway point. I'll also make sure that I'm going to be putting a replay page together, so we'll put all of these trainings on a single page for you so you can get access to it and you can go through them again, all right? So do me a favor, if you got any questions, if you have anything, do me a favor, post under the post. Let me know. Say hi. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what's coming up for you. Let's work through it. Let's answer the questions. Let's keep you rocking and rolling, moving forward. This is about changing your financial destiny. This is about changing the trajectory. Remember, I said financial independence, financial liberation, I believe is a birthright. Let's go claim it, and let's do it together. All right. You guys have an incredible Friday. Have a blessed evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.